know you by heart, like ink on my sleeve. Right from the start, making memories. You had bangs and a Honda Accord. I bought them jeans I couldn't afford. Threw you a party, the cops shut us down.
Hello there. Today I am double fisting. The trick is I put a ton of my favorite fruit in here so that I am like inspired to drink the water, because once the water's drank I can eat the fruit. But really this is the jackpot.
Radio, sipping on your latte, drawing on your window.
What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video I'm doing another coffee talk with you guys. I've got my coffee here in my Just Juice mug, and I got my fruity water because I'm trying to adult. Today's video has been one that's been requested by you guys so much, and it is to talk about the law of attraction, manifesting things, living your dream life, thinking more positively, just all of that, which is a heavy topic. I was a little intimidated by the idea of making a coffee talk on this. There's still so much that I'm learning about it. Using things like the law of attraction or positive thinking, abundant thinking, manifesting the things that you want in your life by visualizing them and then kind of setting an intention with them and then just creating action to call those things towards you. It's an idea or a concept that I've been into for a few years now. I feel like even just the fact that I'm sitting here in Toronto, but I look at Bentley, those are all things that I used to, visualize. Those are all things that I used to put on my vision boards. Those are all things that I was trying to attract to me in hopes that it would create a reality in the near future or the future in general. And it's for that reason that I feel so strongly about the law of attraction. That said, guys, I'm still such a newbie. I feel like there's still so much to learn, and I've only kind of scratched the surface when it comes to this stuff. But all in all, I think I've summed up a pretty good idea of my understanding of the law of attraction so far in my life. And if you want to grab a mug, we can sit down and have a chat about it. Part 1. What exactly is the law of attraction? The law of attraction is the idea or concept that we attract to us that of which we focus on or think about. So the idea behind it is if you think more positively, if you think at a higher frequency, then you kind of draw more positive things or higher frequency things to you. Just like if you're thinking more negatively, you tend to draw more broody things or bad things towards you. For instance, like a really simple idea of that is, have you ever had like a bad day where something sets the tone of your day in the morning, and then it just kind of feels like everything that follows that one moment that put you in a bad mood, it just turns into like one of those worst days ever, even if it's just simple little things like spilling your coffee. And then there's also the example of those days where you wake up and you're just in such a good mood, and like everything just seems to happen so perfectly. That's like the better and happier example of the law of attraction. Everybody kind of has bad things that happen to them, but it's all about shifting your focus and shifting your perspective and almost tuning the frequency of your thoughts so that even though bad things might happen, like something as simple as your coffee spilling. Some days, if you let that bother you, then you turn down the frequency of your thoughts and suddenly you start attracting more bad things to you. Versus if you look at it as like no real big deal and you kind of keep your vibe high, you just like brush it off like it's nothing, you turn your frequency up and you bring your thoughts to a higher level, which then attracts better things to you throughout the day. I remember when I was reading You're a Badass, one of the easiest ways for me to kind of wrap my head around the law of attraction was the author, Jensen Shero. She kind of, the way she described it was it being like a radio. Like imagine your brain and the frequency of your thoughts are like a radio, and you're constantly tuning, whether you know it or not, into certain stations. Let's say you want to manifest something that is super healthy or abundant and joyful, but you're tuning your brain into something that's more negative or lazy, then it's going to be impossible for those frequencies to match and for you to tap into that station. You can shift your brain focus and shift your thoughts to match the frequency of the radio station that you're trying to tune into. Then suddenly you're listening to healthy, abundant, joyful music. Does that make sense? If your thoughts are energy, then that means that every single thought that you think, which is a lot within a day, if all of those things are transferring energy, even just within yourself, then it's going to have a bigger effect on you than you think. To me, everything has energy. Thoughts are energy, perspectives are energy, the way you interact with the world around you is energy. So what you think is ultimately what you create. So you could take the exact same situation and think about it two completely different ways, and one version of you could be a lot more open to receiving better things from life and the universe, and another version of you could be more doubtful and more afraid and less trusting, and for that reason you close your mind off to the opportunities that kind of just sit and wait for us starts to show up. You can literally change your reality at any given time. You can change your reality right now. However you felt coming into clicking this video, you can change your entire perspective on life in this split second just based on changing your thoughts. Real quick, I want to just like slide a note in there, because something that I used to get really frustrated about when I first started getting into things like the law of attraction was I would feel this like sudden shift where I'd be like, okay, yes, I get it. Like, I'm ready to manifest my life. 5 minutes later, I would find myself brooding or in a bad mood or thinking about something so irrelevant and so stupid and so almost like petty. And then I would just like, you know, icing and cherry on top, make myself feel like crap. How come I was just feeling so good and now I'm back to feeling this way? Like, I suck at this, I'm horrible. It's gonna take time to train your brain. I still feel like I have so much training to do. Even though I talk about this stuff a lot, I still have really crappy days that like I don't necessarily show you guys, or I get in really bad moods sometimes. Like, it happens, but it takes time. It's like a muscle. You can't just expect to get up one day having never ran a day in your life and suddenly be able to run a full-on marathon. When we understand the process and we accept the process, then we don't have to judge ourselves or be hard on ourselves for not completely clicking it right away. It's important to note that it's going to take time, it takes training, and we constantly have to work at it to be able to stay in bigger pockets of time in that kind of frequency. The amount of time that you'll spend judging yourself and bashing yourself for getting out of that frequency just brings you down even lower. Instead, just be like, you know what? I'm catching myself right now. I'm in a bad mood. Don't need to be though. And then just like tune that frequency back up. Pay extra for some guac, go grab yourself a coffee, paint something. I don't know, do what you gotta do to just like shift yourself back. Because if you start now, if you think right in this second about everything in a more of a glass half full, or it's no big deal, if you literally just decide right in this second that that's what you're going to do, then your training has already begun and you're already starting to build those pathways in your brain that will dig deeper and deeper and make it easier for you to go to that conclusion faster than what you're used to or what your default mode is, which for a lot of us, our default mode is to either not be conscious of things around us at all, or to have a very negative context to everything that happens around us. Life is great, life is abundant, I don't need to be in such a cranky mood. That leads me to part number 2. How do you use it?
But mostly
Before you can use the law of attraction, you have to get really, really clear on what it is you're trying to attract. What are the things that you want to manifest in your life? And get as clear as possible. You even just have a general direction of the things that you want to attract in your life, or the things that you're trying to manifest in your life, then you can use the law of attraction much better and clearer and with more precision than if you were to just try and think more positively in general. The biggest things that helped me figure out the things that I really wanted in my life, the things that felt authentic and true to who I am, the things that I wasn't just doing for show, but I was doing it for a genuine joy within myself. I asked myself the things I liked to do when I was a kid. Fine with meditation and writing and yoga, there's just like this level of consciousness that you start to gain with yourself where you're like, hey, what's up? How we doing? Like, how have we been feeling lately? Is there anything that we're really feeling drawn towards? Is there anything that we'd like to see in our lives? And you kind of create this dialogue in your brain. Anything that creates just like a feel good in your gut, you know the feeling, that starts to show you or tell you or guide you towards the things that you want or want to attract or want to manifest. Some of my best ideas or things that I didn't even realize I wanted until it hit me like a freight train happen when I'm doing even just small little things that bring me joy, like when I'm baking or when I'm singing in the shower, or cleaning even. Like, those are the moments that you need to start generating more of so that you know what you're actually trying to attract into your life. Think of the times that you've felt the most bliss, like the most happy, peaceful state of bliss. Was it when you were outside? Was it when you were biking? Is it when you're surrounded by the most important people to you or surrounded by your family? Is it when you're surrounded by dogs? Is it in warmer temperatures? Is it exploring and traveling? Is it something as simple as planting a garden in your backyard? Visualize yourself traveling. Visualize yourself planting that garden and see the kind of feeling that gauges within yourself. If you suddenly get so excited that you can't contain yourself, that's a pretty pretty good indication that might be the direction you want to start heading, or the frequency you want to start tuning into. It's so clear on the things that it is that you're trying to manifest, from big to small things, because even thinking about those things creates a feeling inside of you, and that feeling inside of you, when you get happy and joyful and excited and just have such a genuine intent to just enjoy your life and find some bliss, you're already starting to attract those things towards you and opening your brain to see the easier pathway to get to those things faster. And so now that you've tapped into the feeling or the frequency and you've tied it to things or ideas or hobbies that create more of that feeling, the next step is to go forth with actions. An author who put this in such a way that it literally shooketh me to my core was David G. I just finished reading Sacred Powers, and in that book, one of the biggest things that I loved about it, there was a huge section where he talks about attention, intention, and then action. When it comes to the law of attraction, your attention should be drawn to the things that you do want in your life, not the things that you don't want in your life. So stop thinking about the things that you're afraid of and start thinking about the things that you would be excited for. That's your attention. Then you have to set your intention. I intend to whatever it is. Even if you have no idea how on earth it could possibly happen, write it down. Write it down everywhere. Write it down every time you're losing that little bit of spark, because that is you setting your intention and telling the universe, okay, so this is what I want. And then he ties it all together with action, where you let go of the attachment. So you say, this is what I intend to do, and you're putting it out there that you want it, and then you let go and you focus on what's actually right in front of you in hopes that you've planted that seed and the universe is going to bring it to you. You let go of your control. You let go of your attachment to it. You bring it back to the present moment. You fill the present moment with as much good, bright light as you possibly can, and you tune your frequency so that you start attracting it to you faster. Hand gestures are very aggressive today. There is no way that any of this can work if you don't trust. If you even have the slightest bit of doubt, that'll create static in your frequency, and it'll constantly be calling you back to shift down, to doubt that you can do the things you want, to doubt that you can have the things you want, and then trying to prove to yourself by not having them that you were right all along. You don't want to listen to that. I trust the universe, I trust myself, I trust the timing of my life. Only 3 things that you'll ever need to trust to know that your life is exactly on the right path and bringing you to exactly what you want or what you need. Tap into the present moment with full, complete trust and faith in whatever is already lined up for you or what you're trying to line up for yourself, and you will find that things will start shifting and aligning without your need to like micromanage or control. Part number 3, you are what you think. There's another big thing that David G talks about in Sacred Powers that resonated with me, and it was nourishment versus distraction. For me anyways, I find when I start to become fearful of life, or I start to doubt my life or doubt the things that I'm trying to make happen, I start to use distraction rather than nourishment to fill up my time, because I just want to tap out of the fear so bad. When he put it into nourishment versus distraction, it suddenly became so easy for me to see how I was spending my time in my life. For the things that I was lining up in my day, a nourishment to the things that I'm trying to plant and seed and grow later on in my life, or is it a distraction to not have to deal with the stress? When you're thinking lazy, when you're thinking poor, when you're thinking negative, when you think ugly, when you think competitive, you become those things. Versus if you think abundantly, if you think positively, if you think peacefully, if you think kindly, if you think happily, then you tune out of the things you were thinking of before and tune into that version of yourself. And then you will create, feel, and attract more of those things to you. And this works even if you think puppy, if you think travel, if you think plants, if you think fashion designer, if you think New York City. You're tuning into that version of yourself. Imagine your brain as a garden, and you're taking seeds, and for every time you plant one of those seeds, you plant one of those thoughts with intention, you can then water it with action, you can then water it with bringing yourself back to that intention, you can water it with nourishment, you can water it with doing things of high frequency that make you feel good and make the people around you feel good. The more you're watering those seeds, and the more that they'll start to sprout, they'll start to, grow, manifest into these massive giant sunflowers or tulips or whatever it is you plant in your brain. I'm planting succulents. Planting the seed, you're fertilizing it with your excitement. And then finally you get up and you jump into action and you start living your life with that feeling, with that intention, only to find that when you turn around, your freaking garden has bloomed. But it's not gonna bloom if you sit and you just stare at it. If you plant all these seeds and then you sit back and go, okay, Come on. You need to give it room to breathe. You need to give it room to grow. With just a little bit of faith and a little bit of trust, you will open yourself to opportunities and to mindsets that will set the tone and the course of your life. It won't come from force, and it won't happen if you resist. Don't try and attach to it, just let it happen. Enjoy the journey and just watch it unfold and learn the lessons you need to learn along the way, and bring yourself back to that higher level of yourself, or the highest version of yourself, as much as you possibly can, without any judgment of how many times you fall off the horse. You breathe, you reset the intention, you plant the seed, you water it, and you just get right back to it. That's it. So that concludes today's coffee talk. I hope you guys enjoyed. A few of the books that I've learned a lot of this stuff from, that I can think of off the top of my head. Sacred Powers, I just finished it and I highly, highly recommend it. You Are a Badass, obviously, I've talked about this book so many times, but it was like my first ever actually grasping the idea or the reality of the law of attraction. Four Agreements is also really good. And if I can think of any more, I'll pop them down below. Even right now, there's quite a few things that I'm trying to attract into my life or manifest into my life, and one of which I booked last night. If you've been watching my videos in general recently, you'll know, like, we've been talking about all of the attracting elephants into my life, and finally last night I was just like, screw it, I'm booking it, I'm doing it. Booked my trip to Thailand, and I booked my day at the elephant sanctuary. Maybe I'll do a blog post kind of follow up to this video in a few weeks and just like talk more about it. I feel like I've been talking forever, so I'm gonna stop rambling. Leave a comment down below letting me know the things that you guys are trying to manifest or attract into your life, because I mean, realistically, even if nobody ever saw it, typing it out and making it physical, putting it into the physical realm, even doing that is shifting it closer to you. So definitely leave a comment down below and tell me what you guys intend to attract into your life. And last but not least, my final memo or note to bring to you guys is, if you guys didn't know this already, I released a date for the Coffee Talk podcast. So these Coffee Talk videos are turning into podcasts that will be going live every single Monday starting April 16th. There's going to be more details soon, but just in case you didn't know that yet. So definitely check out my Twitter and my Instagram below if you guys want to stay on top of the information for that. And there you have it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys to the moon and back. I hope you guys are all having a fabulous Sunday, and I will see you guys all on Wednesday. Gonna try and finish my water now.